Now I want to move to a little bit more advanced by giving you some more options to play with. Okay, so the first one is this structure. Now, instead of just having a try and an except, I've added another exception here, and I've added the specific error that I get. Now, this is an error code literal, which means it stands for a specific type of error. It is not a string. Notice there's no quotes here. It's just the name of the error. So in this case, if this is my whole code and I'm trying to print X, if I haven't defined X and I try and print X, then I will get a name error. Let me show you. So I print X just like that and I run it. Okay, so look, right here. There's my name error. So now I can come up with the different kinds of errors, and I can give you a message, or I can give the user a message depending on the specific kind of error. For example, if I say try above this, oops, hang on a second. Didn't want to do that. If I say try here, except print generic error. Okay, so that'll work in that it says generic error. But if I want to, I can give the user a more meaningful error by putting in an exception, name error, print X isn't defined. Okay, so now I'm catching that specific error and I'm printing a message that's useful. And I could have 3 or 4 different exceptions that are specific to the error types that would be really useful for me. Then I can give user more intelligent feedback. It's always good to have the generic exception that just says, hey, that something's wrong, but we can't figure it out. I've actually used a lot of programs in my life, and it's kind of funny because you can always tell when you're getting an error that's an error message that's just generic. Have you ever seen that before where the computer basically said, something went wrong, sorry, but that's literally what we're talking about. And you as a user probably felt the same thing I did, which is like, I don't know how to fix that. Thanks for nothing. Or, Windows gives you just a box that has like a warning symbol in it, and it just has a button that says okay. It's like, cool, Windows, thanks. But sometimes, as a programmer, you can't account for everything. But you should always try to protect your users from themselves whenever possible. So we've got that. So we can name specific errors when we want to. Another thing that we can do is there's an else here. Now, this is the same as an if-else statement, except that it's a try and except else. Basically, what I'm saying here is try this. If you can do it, it'll do it. If it can't do it, do this. If it worked, then also do this. So it's try this. This is the thing you're trying that might produce the error. If it produces an error, do this. If it doesn't produce an error, do this. Less common because a lot of times you're going to put the else right here, but a way that could work, let me back out of here real quick. Undo, reversing time. Okay, so let's do this. While true, let's try that. Actually, I think I can keep backing that out. Look at that. I can. Okay, let's go. Accept, print. Nope. I can take that break, and if I really want to be tight with my code, I would put that in an else down here that basically says, try this thing. I'm very specific, so I know what's causing the error. That's always a good thing. You probably don't want 100 lines of code in this block because you want to be able to find out what the error is and predict what it is. Easy here. So if it works, do this. If it doesn't work, print this. And if it does work, then after you finish this, do this thing. So that'll work the same way that it did before, but it's actually a better code construct because now when it works, I know exactly what I'm doing. And I've isolated that one line of code that could give me a problem. By the way, you can nest these. So you can put a try inside a try or a try inside an except. So there's a lot of different things you can do there. But an else allows you to do something if the code works, if the original code works in the try block without having it actually be part of the try block. And then there is one more thing. Finally. Finally, we'll do this no matter what. It's still part of the try, but whether it does this or this, it's always going to do this. That's used way less frequently because if you think about it, it's almost unnecessary for most applications, because after I do this, whether I do this or this, it's going to go to the next line of code anyway and do that thing. So I don't always need a finally. It's kind of if you just want to group another piece of code with that gets executed no matter what. It's more of a stylistic difference than a necessity. But finally is something that exists, so I wanted to tell you about it. Finally gets done no matter what happens in the try and accept.